Hello world, what's up boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to bring to you another discussion. World's crazy today. Current trends, some racism, discrimination, police brutality, quarantine still. This is all unprecedented for the US, guys. 2020, what a whopping year. 6 months in, and we're slowly burning to the ground. So, I'm here with my friends. Say hi, guys.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi,
What's
guys.
up? Cool.
Oh.
We're just gonna be discussing this. All right. I don't know what to kick off. It's pretty crazy right now. Protests, quarantine, social distancing, people protesting during social distancing. There's a lot of, I don't know, man. I keep seeing clips of police brutality and, you know, institutionalized racism and all this stuff coming out. I don't know, man. Thoughts? I'm scared.
I think everyone's a little scared.
Oh, man. But at the same time, I'm like, you know, there's a lot of... Some good better come out of this. I feel like this is the time where it's gotta, you know, some change has gotta come. Because nothing's been changing. Almost...
I agree.
For how long now? Like, when was the last big protest like this about racism? Was it the Rodney King riots? LA riots? That was almost a century ago. It's quite a long time ago.
Like before this month?
No. Yeah,
past-
before this month. Like in history.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, time and time again you see things of institutionalized racism in general. But
Yeah.
nothing changes, really.
I don't think anything as big as this has happened in a while, because this is like the longest, I think the most extended kind of movement that there's been in a long time.
Yeah.
Because
And like
usually,
the entire world is...
no, go ahead, Kabir.
I was thinking like the entire world is like on it now. And there are protests going in like almost every single country. So it's a lot more unified.
Dude, America's rep is going down, man.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like, man.
Because it's not just like, it's not just here in America anymore. Like it's spread a lot, and it's kind of, it's sustained. Like it wasn't just like, you know, a few days. This is going on for
A few weeks now?
a week now.
I'd say about a week.
Maybe like a half or something.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm losing track of time from quarantine, man. But yeah, it's been going on for a while, week and a half.
I mean, you could say that's a really good thing.
I think it's
that
good
we
that
are-
it's not. I hope it doesn't die out. I hope they keep doing it
Yeah.
until something happens. Cause dude, there's some crazy shit happening, man.
Mhm.
Like we gotta get
I
our
mean,
shit together.
For real. I mean, there's been small changes and stuff, but I don't think.
Yeah, but it's
like-
never wiped it off the map completely, which is what we want,
Yeah.
right?
I don't think that'll happen for a while, but
Yeah, it's gonna be a
like,
while.
Getting somewhere.
But at least like start something.
But some big drastic change better come. I don't know. Yeah, I want this to start a snowball of events or something. But
wasn't there like a small list of everything that's been accomplished through the movement recently? I don't know. I saw it in passing, but I don't really remember. Like a list of everything that's like been accomplished through the movement so far.
oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I think I've seen it in passing, but
Yeah,
I don't remember.
That sounds cool though.
If you'd
I
like to,
mean,
I can open it up and see. Open it up.
mhm.
Someone find it on Instagram?
Dude, It's true. Have you guys joined a protest at all? Like physically?
Started.
Out there?
No.
I
No.
have the want to, but do I
Yeah,
have the
I'm-
means?
I'm
Not
good.
really.
My parents
know.
wouldn't
My parents
really approve. Just coronavirus
Yeah,
fears.
so I
Yeah.
want to, but dude, I'm kind of scared I might catch some shit. Don't get me wrong, I support all of it, you know, 100%, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a spike in cases.
Yeah.
Because especially like in
Or
LA,
like
you see the LA
a second
riots.
wave altogether.
Yeah, like a second wave or something. Because I don't know if this is related to the protests, but I do know that there were some cases that spiked in. Where was it? Was it cases spiking in? I don't know. Was it Texas or something? Or did they calm down? I know Arizona's doing good. They're dealing with.
I know
the Riots
Georgia.
pretty good.
Georgia had a big spike, I think.
But yeah, I just remember
Well,
seeing pictures of
It's
like
most
thousands of
likely
people.
to happen. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
without face masks too sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad,
Yeah,
honestly.
I'm nervous. I remember
like-
watching one of the news feeds, like, of it was kind of chill though. It was kind of chill, but my only worry was like, so this dude was like with a cop, and they were like chilling after the cops arrested them. They're like, yeah, man, I get it. Like, at the end of the day, he's a human, I'm a human, but I'm just still gonna fight for what I believe in. Like, they're just casually talking to each other about like their beliefs, I guess. That's what they were saying. But they were not wearing face masks at all. I was like, wait, I hope you don't die, bruh. But that's good, you know, they're talking about their beliefs, which is good. But
I think it also kind of like speaks to the fact that like people know, like people obviously still know that like COVID-19 is still coming, like still around, right? But they're still willing to come out and protest and stuff, right?
dude, I mean, rightfully so. It's something to, you know, fight for. So
Yeah.
it's
It
just
definitely
dude, it came at a
is
bad
something.
time. It came at a
Definitely.
bad time. It's crazy, dude.
This whole year's been bad timing.
Dude, we're only 6 months in.
And so much is happening.
Yeah, well, actually, technically, it's 5 months. We're starting the 6th month. Not even a half a year in.
True.
Is that right? January, February?
Yeah,
March
you're right.
finishes, February finishes.
Yeah, it's June. It would be the 6th month.
Yeah. We're about
We're like halfway.
1 times
yeah.
150 plus, like, we're like 160 days in.
Yeah, we are
Yeah.
nowhere near half, or just a month away from half year.
My
Half a year.
friend was telling me he wanted a protest. And we were talking about it, and you know, we were talking about all this thing and like getting really heated up.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he wanted to protest, and I was like, ah, dude, but Corona, man. He was like, nah, dude, this one, I guess people are staying in their cars and going out. So like, you go out in your car,
Oh,
and yeah, you
Really?
protest from your car.
that'd be kind of insane. Like a whole like.
Oh,
like
that would like
Fucking
crowd
streets.
it.
Yeah.
yeah, the streets are being blocked out.
Oh.
Wait,
man,
yeah.
That'd be crazy. I don't know, man. It's insane.
We have one member that's actually protesting, Megan. I hope she's able to
Yeah,
come
I
here and
saw that.
speak.
I think she
Speak
said
to
she's on her way home already.
Yeah. Hopefully we can catch her.
Dude,
she can catch.
dude, yeah, I want to hear it.
Her.
I was
her-
talk about it.
honestly, I was low key like ready to drive up to my friends and be like, you know what, fuck it, let's fight for this shit, dude. Let's protest. And I was gonna like log into our story and like take live. I was gonna start a live video and be like, hey, what's up, guys? Hello World here. You know, with a face mask on, but I don't know, man. I just
Oh
risk
my
it
God.
and like I want to bring it home or something.
You could be like a reporter on the scene, bro.
Dude.
Reporting
Oh,
live.
Did you guys see that that old dude, 75-year-old dude? That's pretty
Oh yeah, it was like.
Oh yeah, that was horrible.
Where was that at?
Buffalo. New
Buffalo,
York.
New York.
Yeah.
Oh,
The governor
Yeah,
Cuomo,
that's
he
why.
was like, why? That shouldn't have
I know.
happened. And I guess
that
like
was-
people in the emergency unit for those cops, they resigned their positions for that unit.
Oh, wow.
The whole unit, they resigned because they were like, dude, why did you guys do that? Fuck that. They're still in the police force, but not in that specific unit, I guess. So it's pretty crazy.
I heard something going around like what's it called? I think it's New York that like they're like suspending habeas corpus.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, okay. My vocabulary and my I don't remember that term, dude. I know. Someone enlightened me. I forgot.
Okay, I don't know it exactly, but like I'm pretty sure it's essentially like they can arrest you even if, and then they don't have to take you to like the court to justify why they arrested you or something like that.
I'm googling it.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I'm
Someone
googling it.
look that up.
Habeas corpus.
Right.
A writ requiring a person under arrest to be brought before a judge or into court, especially to secure the person's release, unless lawful grounds are shown for their detention. I read that.
So is that like-
thinking,
Wait, so is that like basically you have that so that people can go to court and then have like a judge that judges whether they're actually like they actually did a crime or not?
Yeah.
And so if we don't have that, then you can be arrested and then there doesn't have to be like a
Yeah.
wait, so you just get arrested
So you're basically
and there's no like trial?
if the police thinks you're worth being arrested, then you're arrested.
Yeah, so
That's not
basically, habeas corpus, you determine whether the detention, so the arrest or whatever, is lawful. You know, was it right or not, basically.
Yeah.
And if they suspend it, then it's like you don't get that.
You don't get that
Determination.
opportunity.
Yeah. Holy fuck. Is that real, man?
Yeah,
don't know.
it's real.
It's real.
So, just not
Like
okay.
Definitely not okay.
I see
Wait,
this-
isn't that against the whole? Isn't that
Yeah,
against the innocent till
Like,
proven
against,
guilty?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's against the
Isn't that like our main thing? What?
That's pretty
Yeah, it's a
unconstitutional.
concept that originated in like English government.
Yeah. Here, I see it here.
Like-
Hey, I don't know if this article is credible, guys. I'm on
Old-
lawandcrime.com. AOC slams NYC judge for suspension of habeas corpus in response to George Floyd protests. Yeah, I guess it was in NYPD. Or New York. Sorry, not PD.
Speaking of NYPD, have you seen how much funding they get compared to all
LAPD too. Like just police in general.
police in general? Like, they get
The
much
military
more
forces, dude.
than everyone else.
Institutional forces. I don't know, man.
You gotta think about like if they get funded so much, like what does that funding actually go to, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the arguments too.
Salary?
You think the funding would go to like training so that they don't have like like I've heard of like de-escalation training, right? But like it doesn't seem like that's what they're
Are they
putting their
de-escalating?
funding into, right?
Well, like I've been seeing like information about like how much like police department like gear costs, and like
Yeah.
so like riot gear costs like hundreds of dollars. And then I was also watching like a car chase on the news, and then they were talking about like how much one of those police cars cost because it's like heavily modified or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and it's somewhere in like 6 digits at least for one car.
Whoa.
6 digits? Are you serious?
Yeah, because they have to have like all the technology and all like the protection and whatnot.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They have like those computers and sensors and everything as well.
Yeah.
So
I didn't realize it would be 6 digits though. I thought like 5 digits.
Like,
And it makes those the cars that were burned during the riots look even worse.
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And then like if you compare that to like, because right now we kind of need PPE, so
Yeah.
if we could transfer that budget to something that will actually benefit more people, like I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what to say.
I have a question for you guys. Can I?
Go for it, dude.
For
What are your thoughts on basically like just using social media as like your platform, like, or rather like not using social media? Because
Not
like,
using?
because like I have like friends who don't like post Instagram stories like every second of the day, and then they get like hate for it because it's like
They're
you're not supporting the movement or whatever.
Right.
Do you think
Oh,
not posting something automatically makes you against it?
I don't think so. I ran into that issue myself. I was like, 'cause, sometimes people's like, okay, you don't care, it's because you're not posting about it.
yeah.
mhm.
And then, I saw one post. I'm not gonna call any names out, but basically saying, well, I guess it was kind of true. For people not to just join the bandwagon and understand what the root of it all is, the fundamental, like why. Because some people, they could just be posting and not totally understand, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Like a lot of people posted on that Black Tuesday thing, and
The
I
hashtag
saw-
that would block out.
yeah, I saw the stories where it's like this many people posted, and then half as many people actually signed petitions.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like backward. Like they're posting just for social media and not for
Yeah.
like maybe they don't actually understand what they're doing.
It kind of elicits the feeling of hypocrisy almost, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know
Yeah.
if you don't,
At
but
least I
And,
think it's
like-
better at least to like, instead of just posting, like there's more than one ways to like help the movement, and then besides posting something, like
yeah, you
you
can
can educate yourself, you can
funds,
sign
you
a
can-
petition,
You can become active yourself.
and I think educating yourself is really the most important thing, because like you don't want to like do anything that you actually don't really believe in,
Yeah.
or what anything
Let alone
like that.
fully don't understand.
Totally
Yeah.
agree.
So I don't know, but in terms
So
of
like that's why I'd
non-users,
rather like do things in like for example, I haven't posted any or I've posted some stuff, but not like a lot of stuff.
yeah, I only
Because like
posted
I've spent more time like educating myself and like understanding the entire situation. Because it's like, at least the way I see it, it's better to be slow to action instead of like just going in like
Yeah,
really
some
quickly,
people just jump
so that
into
you
it.
understand and you can analyze the entire situation.
Yeah.
It's definitely important to like think for yourself and understand stuff. In fact, that reminds me, well, in my history class, right, they said you could do a presentation on like an event or some like movement or whatever, and they gave that assignment out before this whole Black Lives Matter thing escalated really quickly, and so I chose Black Lives Matter, right, and so I made a presentation. It's all good, and we have to present in class. And then like the day before, I realized that Instagram is like completely flooded with all this new stuff. So I just like completely redid my presentation, and I actually did like a ton of research on like the new stuff that's going on and like current events. And like I'm definitely one of those people who doesn't post a lot. Like I did the Tuesday thing because I felt awkward that everyone else was doing it and I wasn't. But I mean, I'm not posting stories or anything, but like I did sign like nearly all the petitions, and I did all this like stuff that I believe in. And then the history presentation got me to do a ton of research too, which is cool. But yeah, more recently I've been seeing stories where they're like, you don't have to. It's not like you're not. Like basically the point that you were saying earlier, where it's okay not to post, and that doesn't mean you don't believe in the movement. It's just like a different way of expressing it, I guess.
I have a question.
Do it. Let's hear.
Like, is just posting on your story necessarily bad? Like, what if you're like, I've been attacked, or like people have been like saying that you shouldn't like post on social media about the movement necessarily because you're not exactly taking action. It's just like a simple thing you could be doing, and like you could be spending your time doing more like quote unquote important things like calling people in or like sending emails or signing petitions. Would it be like bad to post on social media, other than the fact that you're like,
I don't think it's necessarily bad, but like it's just not. I wouldn't say not as significant, but it like it's just
at least it brings awareness.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I think it's significant because it brings awareness. Like a lot of people might get most of their news from social media itself, right? Like, so bringing awareness is like a big thing because, I mean, think about it like this: Black Lives Matter. The whole movement started because of the hashtag, right? Like it's basically the founders. What they did is they created a hashtag and they started posting stuff. So Instagram or like all these social media stuff, like it's extremely important just to start the movement. So I guess it is important to spread awareness. I don't think, like, I think that's pretty significant in itself.
It's not the most direct action to change anything, but it's still important.
I think
still
regardless if they didn't even do shit to begin with, at least they're bringing up, they're helping to spread the awareness to reach a broader audience, at least, you know.
That's what it's called social media. It's the media. It's to spread information.
Sure.
The action part's on behalf of the person.
One thing, so I took part of that Blackout Tuesday thing, right? I jumped in on it, and then I deleted my post because I was like, hang on, let me make sure I understand this shit. And then I saw a story. By the way, still fully supported. I didn't really change. I just wanted to make sure, you know, what I'm doing was right. But I saw a story that was calling people out. It said, blah blah blah. Just because you're posting a black square or something, blah blah blah. And then it was like, what a lame attempt at activism.
Right.
And I was like, well, damn, that's pretty harsh. I mean,
yeah, I
I just thought it was. I think it's okay. Like, at the end of the day, they're still bringing awareness. I think one of the issues was it was gonna block out a different hashtag or something
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
to bring better awareness. I didn't remember. I didn't really look into it that much, but
fucked up the feed with like it would like prevent resources from being shown in feeds and replaced it with like black squares, which is
right,
probably
Wait, so they changed the hashtag, right?
yeah, to
Like
block-
people were
Blackout
original.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
People were saying not to use that post with the
Black Lives Matter.
hashtag Black Lives Matter. So I saw that and I did Blackout Tuesday instead, but then I just deleted mine down and anyway, just because I wanted to see. But I mean,
I don't know. I don't think you can call someone out just for posting something on social media because
Yeah, I feel like
we
that's-
don't know
I
what
thought it was
they've done,
too
right?
far. Yeah, that's so I thought about replying to the person like straight up and just being like, hey man, like you don't know what people are actually doing. You can't call someone out
can't-
and
yeah.
say they're, you know, you don't know what they're doing. Totally. So I mean, I don't know. I was like, damn, that's kind of
Like a lot of the people that are posting a ton on social media are also the people who really, really believe in the
Yeah.
stuff, right? It's only like some of the people who are just posting and not doing anything else.
I
But
have one of these
you can't-
friends
yeah.
here, he's dude, he's into it. Like he's posting about it and he's like, I see his feed, he's updating, he's like, okay, thanks guys for the protests and like all the pictures of his protests he's been going to, like he's super into it. So I mean, there are definitely people like that. So I think it's pretty wrong to call someone out.
I think one of the other reasons why it was controversial is because most people were doing it only because everyone else was doing it. Like
Yeah.
they didn't educate themselves on like what Blackout Tuesday really meant, or like read up about the movement, or took like any other smaller like but also significant forms of action. And people were only doing it because they were scared that they would be called out. Didn't do
Yeah,
it.
so that's one of the things people, you know, it's like, oh, you're not posting, so you're a racist, you know?
But also one of the
It's like,
yeah,
what the
so it kind of goes both ways then, right?
Yeah.
Like
It's a catch-22.
if you-
man.
yeah. But kind of like the main reason why we have stuff like Blackout Tuesday, I imagine the reason is to also spread awareness, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like a lot of like this is including me. When I saw the Blackout Tuesday, that kind of got me to do more research on what is
Yeah.
Blackout Tuesday,
Yeah.
and that ended up making me like learn more about it. So it's like in the end, and I guess it's more useful. It's just like I don't agree with calling people out just because they didn't post a square. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
the whole point is to spread awareness, but you can't force them to know.
I
It's
saw
kinda-
most
yeah,
of
I
my
know.
sources and research from social media. Like I would see like all these articles linked, you know, and I would
Mm-hmm.
so it also
Yeah.
made me read more. So,
I think that the whole like one of the bigger problems is that there's a lot of like misdirected hate in this
Yeah.
movement right now. Because like I mean, like even with like like you said, Jeremy, like the people talking about like how what a weak little attempt at activism. It's
Yeah.
kind of like counterintuitive to the point. Like when you're saying that you're basically kind of saying that you want someone to do more, but the way that you're
Yeah.
saying it kind of just off puts people from wanting to try more because they're scared of getting backlash, right? And I feel like a lot of people are staying silent because they're so scared to have someone attack them or come at them kind of like viciously, because they know how passionate some people are about this movement, but some people are just too passionate, too aggressive, and it's kind of
They're gonna radicalize us, man.
It's just-
That's definitely a
it's just
good point.
it's just really, it's kind of sad to see so many people kind of get mad and like Kabir said, try to force other people to support the movement, but that's like not the point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's pretty crazy.
And I feel like that's related to the riots too. I mean, you said misdirected hate, right?
Yeah.
That's like, I know people are straight up like, I mean, the main thing that I've seen is that they're shattering glass and then stealing stuff.
The
right?
looters.
But like, let's say you destroy a shop, like a privately owned shop, and then the guy who runs it also supports the movement. Like, what's the point then, right? I mean, riots are just adding hate, and then let's say you're hurting someone who's actually supporting the movement. It's like you're
Yeah.
hurting yourself then.
Well, I think at least there's at least like some kind of difference between the protesters and then like the looters. Like I feel like those are two different groups of people that are like,
Yeah.
like the looters are there for a different cause. They're not they just want kind of like they're using the protests as like a cover to like
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like I used to think like that too, but I'm not totally saying you're wrong. I totally think there's people like taking over, like totally taking advantage of the protests to like loot shit. Like, hell yeah, dude, I'm gonna fucking steal these Nintendo Switches in Animal Crossing. Fuck yeah, you know. But I remember. Do you guys know Trevor Noah, Daily Show?
Oh yeah.
I saw a video of him. This was his perspective. This is what changed my stance on the lootings. And it was like, but I still think there's totally people out there fucking taking advantage of it. But he was basically saying like, look, so when law enforcement kills a black man, right, or anyone in general from institutionalized racism, the police is like supposed to uphold their part of the law, which is the foundation of, you know, our society.
The social contract.
It's a social contract, right? You saw that, right? So
yeah,
we believe in them to uphold the contract, which is to hold the law. So if they're not holding their contract, right, aka breaking the law, they kill a man, right, or whatever, they're not enforcing right, you know, they're doing police brutality. That's not right. He basically says like, look, so isn't it the same thing if someone loots, they're doing these lootings, they're not upholding the social contract, just like an officer won't uphold his part. So to me, he was saying it's fundamentally the same thing. And then he's like saying, look, over the years, it happens all the time and time again. A black man dies. Police brutality. Institutionalized racism. And he was saying, when you do that to a certain, you know, society or ethnic group every day, he said, you tell me what that does to you as a person. It's the same thing as probably being bullied, I guess, every day. You know, you could relate it.
Yeah,
to
like
that.
fighting fire with fire, or bullying the bully back.
To me, it's fundamentally the same thing. If you look at it like lawfully, I guess, it's fundamentally the same thing. They're not upholding the law on both sides, which is kind of why they wanted to loot in the first place. But I do still think that, you know, some people are definitely taking advantage of it. But, you know, just so you can see it from that point of view.
I'm just thinking like, the main question, the main thing that's so controversial is that even the right thing to do? Because
so
you look at like,
I don't know,
right? You look at people like Gandhi, and I'm thinking other people like MLK, right? And they all had this idea where the worst thing to do is contribute more hate to the situation. Like I was learning about this in history too, where MLK made a speech about hatred and how like your goal is to be like unified instead of just adding more destruction and more hatred, because that's like an infinitely downward spiral. You don't want to go there. And so I feel like the riots, sure, like it feels viable because it sounds like you're doing the same thing that the police are doing. You're kind of like showing them, this is what you do, so why can't we break the law too? Like you're and then I guess that would like intimidate the police to be like, okay, we should be lawful so that you can also be lawful. But like that doesn't work. I feel like adding more hatred just makes it worse. And that's my opinion right now. But like that's the main reason why it might be so controversial.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like you can't fight hate with more hate. It's not gonna go anywhere. And like obviously like the people have it might feel justified that they're going to like around rioting or like breaking property or whatever, but I don't think it's not good to stoop down to the level of that institutionalized racism. It's not good to like be down, because if you're down at the same level, then you're just adding on to the problem. You're not being better to change everyone else. Because if you, at least the way I think it would work, if some people choose to be like better and they don't riot or they don't like destroy property, then it'll cause a wave where everyone else like follows that same suit. That's kind of just my like opinion. Like the only way to fight hate is with basically with love and like with peace.
Yeah, I get that. I think, you know, the people are just getting tired of it though, because, you know, that's what people have been saying all the time, and still, what are we now, like, I don't know, hundreds of years later, it hasn't changed. So that's why I think people are like, fuck it, let's just start breaking shit, you know? And it got extreme. And so I don't know. But
Yeah,
it's just crazy, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up that same point. Like, I understand. Like, I feel I had the same stance that you guys did about like how even though there's a lot of violence being directed, there's like you can't fight hate with hate, right? So you have to take a peaceful stance. But like when you've been taking that peaceful stance for so long
And nothing changes.
like,
It doesn't
nothing
work.
changes, like what are you supposed to do then?
Yeah, dude. Like, okay, personally,
Like,
I wouldn't
one
loot
dilemma
shit
I'd be
personally,
like-
but
Was-
I mean, I could see why people are so angry. You know, I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's, you know, I get it.
It's not that I advocate for violence.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but like,
I definitely don't. If there was another way that the system
It's just that
would
we
work
haven't
with-
seen something that we think can work yet, because we've tried everything. We've tried the violence, we've tried the peace, and nothing's shown
So then,
progress.
where can where's the line where you can say you've had enough? And
it's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, like, the thing that we're doing right now is trying to change the system itself, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole idea. We're trying to change the way that people think altogether, and I guess it's just a slow process, right? I mean, I'm thinking that as long as we keep like the newest generation like aware, I mean, I feel like that's already happening. There are a lot of people who are like a lot of younger kids who are like extremely against racism or don't really know about racism that much and don't really know like that many generations ago people were straight up like slaves, right? I mean, this whole idea that the next generation is going to be smarter and not have racism already built into their heads, like, I feel like that should be the main goal, because a lot of people are just not going to change, I guess. So like we just have to move the country forward with like time. Let's say we have a new president that takes racism on as a first priority, or we do stuff like that. These petitions, they seem to be working. Like I heard that the George Floyd's cops got their thing got up to like second-degree murder or something. And
Oh, really?
that's like the highest it can go, right? Because first-degree murder means that it's pre-planned, which of course it isn't. It was all on the spot. So second-degree murder is like already pretty high. What is it, like 40 years of jail max or min? I forgot.
Let's go see. Let's do some...
no idea.
But like it can be a lot, and like those things are getting somewhere. So I just feel like it's slow and people aren't realizing it's so slow. So yeah, I guess like the anger just like gets out. But one of the things that we need to do to like keep this movement like actually working is not add more hate to it. I mean, I feel like the protests are really good because they don't like destroy things, right? They're not like negative in the way that riots are. Like riots actually destroy property that could be a person who supports the movement's property, and so it's like backfiring. But the protests are like really strong things, and like people actually see the protests, and it's like national attention, etc. And if that doesn't work, I mean, we can get a new president, we can vote for someone we actually want, and the system still is built in a way where we can do those type of things. It's just slow.
I think
That's kind of deep.
Go ahead.
yeah, I think you're talking about what we should do in the long term and the short term, because you were talking about like long term, like voting for a new president if we want things to change, teaching kids like future generation not to educating them about like what racism is and how to avoid it. Those sound like long term things, right?
Yeah, and that might be like the only thing that we can do at some point.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about how like nothing's really working, right? But I'm just trying to say there's a solution in the end, which is that.
Yeah. That definitely is one of the solutions that we have to like start doing now to prevent it in the future.
Speaking of talking about racism with kids and later generations, that question, if you guys think, what would you think if we stopped, like, just completely scrap the past and be like, hey man, racism never existed? Be like, to the new generations, like, just don't even teach about it.
Well,
What do you think?
And that's just being ignorant now.
Would it?
You can't
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Okay.
I think it's necessary to teach so that like it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. I feel like
That's
knowing,
the point of history.
educating and then learning is better than not knowing at all.
Right.
So we need
a
to
precedent, man.
we need to educate
Historical background.
future generations so that they are able to recognize like what racism is, and then we have to guide them towards what the correct actions are against it.
Yeah, so the reason why I asked that is because I've heard some crazy shit of people saying, hey, let's kill all the racists in the world, not educate about racism, and just see what humanity does. You know?
I mean, I feel like racism might just come back.
Yeah, I think it'll still come back.
Yeah.
Because, like,
I was about to
inherently,
say,
like what I said was, you know, there's every group's going to be different. They're going to have differences, right? Skin color, the way they look. I feel like inherently you're just going to be like, oh, hey, you're different, dude. I'm better than you, you know? So,
It's human nature to be like prejudiced. So like if we were to like say we were to like forget about racism and then we were in like a time of like no racism for a long time, and then all of a sudden racism pops back up.
Yeah.
You're not gonna know what to do, and it's just gonna be the same thing all over again.
Yeah.
There goes like, you know, countless years of learning and fighting all and like
There goes the
knowledge,
sacred
like, you know,
text.
down the
The
drain.
sacred text, yeah. Okay, cool. I don't know.
All right.
I had a question.
What's up?
Well, I don't know if y'all saw the chat, but I put down two topics I kind of wanted to
Is
talk
it
about.
in general?
General.
Let me see this.
General.
I see. President's actions during this time. How as young people we have the BLM conversation with our parents and elders. At least in my experience, Asian elders are somewhat ignorant to racism and don't talk about it.
I think maybe we should talk about the second one first, because we were kind of talking about that kind of generation thing. We were talking about the future, but I guess we could talk about the older generations for a second. Because I think, what's it called? Like, most of the Black Lives Matter movements have been led by kind of younger people.
Yeah.
Kind of like our age or older. And then, I don't know, there's like some people who are more, I guess, old-fashioned or traditional. They stick to how life was when they were younger. So it's just, we need like a better way to converse with them and like try to get them to basically, you know, like understand their point and then maybe change their point. So if they are,
Let's see. I'm trying to formulate how I want to ask this thing right here. Because I feel you.
Like the second one, right?
Elder generation. Yeah.
Yeah, so like essentially how all these people like basically the movements are mostly young, so how do we get older people also invested, and how do we get like Raph said, how do we like change their mind essentially,
Okay. Yeah.
or change their views?
because really right now the older people are the ones making the decisions in government, in the polling booths, so they have more of a say than we do technically.
Yeah. Well,
They have more power to change.
I
But
think
politically.
they're in a position of power, and they're also more educated too. Is the thing compared to I think.
Like you could say they're wiser in the sense that they've lived longer and they have like the same they have more years of education, but also like a lot of them are stuck in their old views.
It's true. Could be.
So that's like the problem.
I think,
Change isn't happening because they're stuck.
have you guys ever talked about the BLM movement with with your parents at all? Like
That's-
because you say my experience with Asian elders in your question, right? Are somewhat ignorant
Yeah,
to racism.
because like
Do they?
don't know.
What do they say? Because I'm about to tell you what from my experience
Like,
with my Asian elders.
they're kind of just not knowledgeable of like
Yeah.
like for example, my grandma doesn't really understand anything that's going on in the news right now. So like it's kind of hard to have that conversation with like her. So
Uh-huh.
it's just like she's stuck to her like old ways of like I don't know. She just does her basically. She's kind of ignorant to the rest of what's going on because like she's never been like oppressed or anything. Like she's been wealthy. She's
Yeah.
like she hasn't had to feel oppressed by the color of her skin or like her ethnicity or anything. So she's kind of just looking out for herself, kind of.
One of my Asian elders, I don't want to state specifically.
Oh.
You know, but they were like, you know the how all lives matter. You guys see
Yeah.
all lives matter? So they said they're like,
Oh yeah.
it's like you should change it from Black Lives Matter to All Lives Matter. And I said, well, you're not understanding the context then, because
Yeah.
it's racism, dude. They're targeting one person's, which I agree with. You know, all lives do matter, right? But in this case,
Yeah,
you see time and time again, it's for some reason people of dark skin are being targeted. So that's why the whole movement
But yeah,
came to fruition in the first
Like
place.
little sidetrack, but like I think the concept or like the title "All Lives Matter" is a bit misleading
Yeah.
because obviously all lives do matter.
They do.
but
yeah,
like-
that's right.
It's just that Black Lives Matter. But like at this moment in
Yeah.
time, Black Lives Matter more at this time because they're the ones being oppressed.
Yeah,
They're
I
the
think
ones.
Yeah, like,
they've
that's
always,
where the
I feel like
change
they,
needs to
yeah,
happen.
it's always been, you know, from historically wise, you know, slavery, like it's
So it's more like a reminder that specifically Black Lives Matter as well,
Yeah.
because previously people
Yes.
believed that Black lives do not matter as much as everyone else, and that's what racism is. So it's like a reminder. It's like, yeah, all lives matter, but don't forget that includes Black lives.
yeah.
Just
I
like,
think
And that's
an
like the main
emphasis
problem.
right now.
anyways,
yeah.
going back to the other conversation, I guess.
Which was our president's actions during this time. Is that correct?
Or are we still
Or-
talking about the
It's not
elders?
like
or
the Asian
do
parents.
We wanna...
I lost track.
The Asian parents, right?
Parents, are we still doing this?
I honestly haven't been able to have this conversation. It's been like something hard to like bring up, you know.
Yeah, no, I
'cause
feel that, dude. Honestly,
I think-
they're just stubborn, man. Some people are just stubborn, and I can't.
Yeah,
I just
definitely.
can't
Yeah.
talk to them, dude. So that's how it is.
I think I think that like I mean all people are kind of like want to stick to their own like they want to stick to their own views and they're kind of like hesitant to change, but like
Yeah.
the older you get the more so, right? Because I mean
Yeah.
I don't know about everyone else, but like I think elders like as like a younger person, you kind of like have to respect what you have to like. There's a certain amount of respect that you has to be given to your elders, right? There's like a certain amount of like respect like expected from you to give to your elders, and like when they're already stuck in those views, it's kind of hard as like coming from like the younger side
Yeah,
going
yeah.
up to change their views, because then it kind of seems like you're attacking them, and that might seem
Yeah.
disrespectful.
I think it's the
But then-
generational difference, man.
Yeah,
Because like you
And
know,
it's
like,
like-
grew up in such a conservative time, and then
now
our
you're like, well,
generation is like more loose.
Yeah.
and now we're like trying to come in and change how they think, and like, and it might come off disrespectful, so they might just like blow it off as like, oh, you're just being like a disrespect. You should like be respectful to your elders, you know, stop being so
Yeah.
like stop like getting out of line and stuff. So it's kind of like scary to like to have that conversation or get there. But it's, I mean, like, but I'm not saying, but at the same time, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Like, it's something you
Yeah.
have to, but it's like, how
It's just a difficult thing to approach.
how do you come at it in a respectful in a way that's respectful, and you can like, you know, still have that conversation and still be respectful to them.
Hey man, honestly, they just think I'm dumb when I try to say shit. So it's hardcore, man. I don't know. I think I'm spewing nonsense sometimes. Rough.
Yeah.
Well-
Well, I mean, on my end, my parents are like immigrants, So like they moved here from India, and so like I guess the way that they put it, like my mom's really into like doing research on a lot of things, and she wants to be aware of a lot of things too. So like she's the one talking most of the times, and one of the most recent things that we've talked about is like how all the work that the black people did in order to get their own freedom, we shouldn't take that for granted. Like immigrants are only really allowed to come into America because of the work that the black people did, like the immigration law that was passed and all that stuff. And so like the freedom that we have now as an immigrant, like as an immigrant family, is because of the work that black people put into to like get their own freedom. So that kind of matters to us then, because like essentially we would have been treated the same way black people are treated right now because of like for the same reason, like this whole racism thing. But like I guess we got lucky because of their work. So that's like our take on it right now, and that's why it matters to us.
Yeah. Like why we should care, as I think a lot of us come from immigrant families. So.
At least in my case with my parents, like I was able to talk about it with them, and luckily for me, they understand the movement, and they understand that Black Lives Matter, and of course what the cop did was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So at least for them, I didn't have that problem.
I guess, yeah, in my household, yeah, I've also, we've talked a little bit about it, and yeah, my parents understand it. Our family, we're not like Black, we're Latino, but like they're no stranger to like this kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's this disparity, like, yeah, once like they travel like up north, and they were not very, they were treated differently. They understand what this is all about. But yeah, it's definitely something my parents are aware of. But yeah, we just know it's happening, but we don't like discuss it like all the time. But yeah, we definitely understand it's happening.
Definitely, I'm in the same situation. Like, I know my parents keep up with the news, to stay on top of what's happening, if like anything changing. So I'm very fortunate that I feel like family, like some people don't understand what's happening.
My voice is kind of cutting off, but I got most of it. Yeah.
Something wrong.
Well, I think just to like end this topic off for anybody watching, I think it's important to have conversations, even if they're like tough to.
Yeah. It brings more awareness.
And I think the only way to do that is through just going for it, and maybe doing like small steps at a time, but at least putting yourself out there. I think just if you do that just a little bit at a time, eventually you'll break through. So yeah, that's my take on it. So
I think it's a matter of asking like maybe the right questions to just open them up slowly.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I gotta try it out. More. I've never thought more when speaking to my elders, man. Gotta think about these questions hard, man, because I gotta make them understand what the context is, and then okay. But yeah, is there another President's actions?
So, President's actions. I think the first thing I want to ask was like, what do y'all think about his photo shoot in front of that church?
Didn't they tear gas the streets and he walked by himself?
Yeah, they fired like rubber bullets and tear gassed people so that he could have a straight path.
He's all about like using force and it's almost like authoritarian. Yeah. Very
to have a photo shoot with a
in my opinion,
in front of a church.
It's all about like dominating.
Yeah, kind of like contradictory to the whole point of having a photo shoot in the in the front of a church.
Yeah, in the church, right? I was like,
And, like,
look at all that. And you're
There's been
standing
like
there.
pastors and like the bishops like commenting on his actions, and then they're like the people who like run the church, they're like, this isn't what the church is supposed to be used for.
I think they also
Oh,
called him out
man.
for like not going, even like he doesn't even regularly visit that church, or he doesn't like pray or anything. He wasn't there to worship or anything. It's
Like,
literally just
it was like a social media attempt, dude, or something.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just-
I don't
People
know.
call him out for like
literally
people
a
call him
party
out like
scene.
he's never opened a Bible in his life or something like that. He doesn't like. There's like an interview where he says like someone asks him what's his favorite book, and then he says the Bible. And then the interviewer asks, "Oh, so can you tell me your favorite verse in the Bible?"
He doesn't say
And then
shit.
And then he's just like, "I just like all of it. All of it's my favorite." And like,
It's a cop-out answer, dude.
if
Okay.
you can't even say one, I don't know. Like, just say a random one. If you know all of it, then you could just say a random one, and then
Just recite the entire thing. No, I mean,
I don't
but yeah,
know.
like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's more just like a stunt to make it seem like he's
Doing
the
stuff.
good guy. But that's
I
kind
feel
of
like
not what
that's
we need
like it's
from
kind
a
of
president.
immature of a president. Yeah.
Mhm. Especially, it's like they say like the best presidents are the ones that like react best to a crisis or like a time in need or something like that.
Right.
And there's two of them going on right now. The first one, he kind of he did some stuff, but it wasn't great. And then this one, I don't know.
Wasn't he saying he wanted to bring in military force?
Yeah. National Guard or whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna like break some 200-plus-year-old law, which is only used as a last resort. I don't recall the name of it. Like you said, if the states don't get their act together, then he'll take care of the protests for them.
Also, his tweeting. Can we talk about his tweets?
tweeting.
Also, the fact that he said he'll take care of the protesters for the states, but he wouldn't even take care of COVID for the states. He was like, you guys can deal with it.
It'll be gone by April.
What?
It's June, dude.
It's
Yeah.
Come on.
fucking 2 months
Hypocritical.
later, dude. I'm dying. Not
It's
personally.
June and we're about to have a second wave.
I hope not, but I think it might happen.
I think it's
keeping up
gonna
with the
happen.
numbers every day, and
I feel like technically it
Crazy.
already happened because the protests have already started, and we're only gonna see it in like 20 days
it's probably
because
just
That's
like,
true.
you know.
The second wave is
it's about 2
Well,
weeks. When we
yeah.
finish the first week, we're a week and a half, right? So maybe in another week.
Yeah. So essentially, like, if like meeting people right now after the protest is like really bad because they probably already have it.
Yeah. There's no way in like crowds of thousands or hundreds.
Some of
That-
them not wearing face masks, man. Ah!
There's no way that it hasn't
Close
spread
proximity.
to a lot of them.
Yeah. And the incubation period is 2 to 14 days, and if most of the movement is young, then they're asymptomatic, they're not showing symptoms. So,
Oh yeah,
you know,
that
so
too.
that's my worry too. Is like, well, dude, I don't know where you've been, man. I don't want to.
It's kind of like an invisible disease in that case. So it's like you just like know that these things have happened, and then everything else is just like a risk, and it's like, should I take the risk or not? But I feel like a lot of people don't realize it's like essentially life or death for a lot of people,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and so
That's why when that one, like when I was to throw it back earlier, it was like, lame attempt at activism. I was like, man, I want to protest, but okay, I gotta think about this. I have like 60-year-olds at home. What if I somehow bring that shit? I don't know it. Now it's in my house.
yeah,
Okay,
you don't want to
it's,
do
It's
that.
gonna pass on to them. Like what? It's like,
Yeah.
do I have a choice? Like I kind of just want to stay inside instead. Count my odds here. It's scary.
Mhm.
I think that's why a lot of people were posting too. Actually, is because do they want to go outside in the first place?
Yeah, it's like the most they can do, really.
So yeah, it's kind of.
I mean, yeah, there also have been like a lot of resources on how to, support the movement with
there's
having the
petitions,
protests.
funds,
So
and all that. So yeah.
that's good. It's good that there's been a lot of like resources for that.
We have another question, which is, yeah.
What's your opinion?
Do you wanna say it?
The news limiting posting and refraining from taking action if
That's a really good question.
Refraining from taking action if it affects your mental health and income. So, like, playing ignorant. Or is that...
No, it's like...
No,
it's like
not
that-
really playing ignorant. You know it's happening, but you just don't want to do it because it's overwhelming, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well,
I think people deserve to. I mean, if it's affecting your mental health, you deserve to have it.
yeah, like my saying is, you can't help others until you've helped yourself.
Yeah.
So you need to
I say
make
that.
sure you're good.
You can't take care of
You need to
others.
make sure
if
you're
can't take
good
care of
first,
yourself.
so that you can make sure others are good.
Yeah. I always value emotional stability first. You know, I don't care if, you know, working a rich job, if you're
Killing yourself.
unstable, yeah, it's not worth it, man. You know, just
Mm-hmm.
lay low, take it easy.
And you can kind of imagine a lot of the bad stuff that happens, maybe the protests as well, could happen because people are overwhelmed, right? Like,
Mhm.
the rash decisions happen because people, aren't mentally stable. So, like, I mean, that could be a reason, and maybe, like, it's time to, like, take a break.
Megan's
Like-
here.
Oh, Megan's here.
Yeah,
Making
hi,
sure, like,
Megan.
hi, Megan.
Hi.
Welcome.
We-
Oh,
We wanted to ask you how your protest went, but I think we're still discussing one thing, and then we can move on to it. Or we could do it. I don't know.
we'll get to it. We'll
Yeah,
get to it.
Yeah.
So who's Aaron was next, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna agree with Kabir in saying that, yeah, you kind of want to make sure you're in like the best state of mind to like advocate and make sure you don't like lash out and create more hurt just because you aren't feeling the best.
What if I end up looting, man? Because I'm so angry.
Exactly.
I gotta take it easy. Gotta reevaluate myself.
Mm-hmm.
Stay safe. Stay healthy. Take care of yourself.
Mental health.
What's
Important. What's up, Gabby? You cut out.
food stores?
Oh.
Wait,
Stores?
cut out again.
Don't loot stores.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't leave stories.
Agree.
Moral of the story.
Use your mental health as an excuse. Just don't.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was insane. Some people are just doing this shit because, you know, they're young and like they want to be a part of something, and you know, they become this fucking
Contribute to anything.
crazy thing. You know, it's crazy.
I think some people are just about like they see it as like a trend to join it, or like they just want to join in on the bandwagon, but they don't actually have the intent of really supporting the cause. They just think it's trendy.
Yeah, that's just extremely sad. Because there's a difference.
maybe
between like we said, the Blackout Tuesday thing was a trend. But like there are people who follow the trend and are like genuinely
Yeah, and then they get
Doing
called
it.
out, but they don't know
Like-
the person behind the scenes. You know, it's like, dude, they're doing.
they're
something.
trying to educate themselves behind the scenes and they're posting it, but then there are people who are just like actually just following the trend. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
I mean, in the end, it's like a positive, right? And that positive.
I think it's a positive.
Sure, people who just follow the trend. I mean, like, oh well. I mean, if you didn't have a Blackout Tuesday, then they would still be in the same spot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the people who did get inspired to like do research or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like, sure, they're kind of just following the trend, but also there's a net positive to it, and they actually learned more about it.
I think it's just.
So there are no negatives to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like
Okay.
kind of annoying. Sorry.
I know, but like, what can you do, right?
Yeah, like I saw this girl, or for the first protest I went to was in my hometown. It was at our like Pier Bowl, and I saw this girl in my physics class drive by, and she was like laughing at us. She was clearly making fun of us. And the next day she posts like Blackout Tuesday, and I was like, okay, that's so annoying.
Yeah. Hypocrite.
Yeah, it kind of pissed me off.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully they actually did have like a change of heart
Yeah.
or something.
Please,
but-
please,
No, I
please,
saw-
Please.
No,
She was-
I feel like those type of people. Yeah.
She's posting pictures of her at a party, and there's like a bunch of people with like MAGA hats, and people like making fun of it. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't
But like, the best thing you can do, in my opinion, is just like you continue to do this whole thing with spreading awareness, because like I feel like at some point they are going to like look into it, and if not, well, like they just continue to be themselves, and it doesn't really have that much of a negative effect. You can kind of just get away with ignoring it, right? Like if they're already bad people, they're just continuing to be themselves. And really all the Blackout Tuesday thing does is like have that positive effect of like actually inspiring the few people who do get inspired to do better.
I think that it gets like a lot of people massing into it, you know.
Mm.
Because I think if everyone joins in, then it's like, okay, man, you gotta change some shit.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it. When
And it's like-
everyone in the country is on it. So.
It's like, have you seen this thing? And it's like there's like 12 million or something signatures on that change.org thing, and then like 22 million people posted Black Hat Tuesday, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not even hard to sign a petition. It takes like 5 seconds.
Yeah. We have
Same amount
technology,
of time
man.
to like post that picture. So
Yes.
But I feel like without that picture, it might have been less people who signed the petition.
true.
That's like my point.
Mhm.
Like for me at least, like I didn't really know too much about a lot of this stuff, and then Blackout Tuesday, I'm like, okay, my Instagram is flooded with all this stuff. What is this about? And
That's when
that
I
like
started
really
seeing all
got
the
me to do
petitions,
more.
Too, you know, when all this started happening. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it is-
So, I mean, the people who are hypocrites will just be hypocrites, and it's just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
But yeah. Wait, were we talking about the avoiding news? Do you want to go back to that and wrap it up, or like avoiding news if it starts to affect your mental health, or like limiting on posting and refraining from taking action if it's messing with your mental health?
I'm all for taking a break if you need it, man. Anyone.
Better to like take care of yourself and not cause any other hurt, unnecessary hurt.
Yeah, you need to take a break to just process everything.
Yeah. Reevaluate.
Yeah. Otherwise, like you'll go insane. Like sometimes if you take a break, you'll come back with a new perspective
There
and
you
you
go.
understand things more.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yep.
What else? Yo, Megan, how was that protest?
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, Megan.
Sorry, I'm eating a dessert right now.
No worries.
Dessert.
Pretty great. I went to 2 today. The first one, it was all chill. It's all of them have been chill around here. Like the first one I went to, not today, but a different day. Anytime there was like this one guy who's trying to like incite violence.
Oh,
He was an All Lives Matter dude. He
Oh, okay.
like made a move at some kids. It was really annoying, but like everybody would just like chant, "Stay peaceful." Luckily, that didn't have to happen today, but everybody stays peaceful. Everybody's wearing masks. It's really easy to stay 6 feet apart. It was really hot. That sucked. But yeah, it was nice. It's good to see
Any
everybody.
advice for people going to protests?
Sorry?
Any advice for people going to protests?
Yeah, for sure. Wear a mask, definitely, and bring water, 100%. I don't know how cold it is where you guys live, but it was like boiling. Wear sunscreen.
How long were you out there for?
I was a while, like 6 hours.
6 hours.
The 2 different ones, so one for 3 hours, one for 3 hours. It was
Damn.
more like 5.
Yeah, dude, that's
Props.
Yeah, and I messed up my sign, so that was really embarrassing. Like the front said Black Lives Matter, and the back said No Justice, No Peace, but I wrote one upside down. So like no matter how I held it, one would be upside down.
Oh, it's okay. At least you got one of the points out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
And it was social distance.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm thinking
no-
about that. How does that make?
Yeah.
How did they make that possible?
Not everybody follows it, but like it's easy to if you want to. It's just because they've all just been in wide open spaces. Like at the beach is where we had them. The one in my town, it was at the Pier Bowl, so there was like this big patch of grass right in front of the beach, and everybody was just on that. And then the other one was at Main Beach Laguna, and it was just like everybody just spread out on the patch of grass in front of the beach too. And the other one was like just like
I see.
on a lawn.
Because like at least like the ones I've seen on the news, they're like
close,
streets and
close
like
contact, like a shit ton
Yeah.
of people just bunched together.
thousands of people walking through streets, and it's like,
Some with no masks.
I mean, that's
Physical.
media, right? They're gonna show you the worst of the
It's
worst.
true.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I have some pictures. I don't have any of them today because I just didn't feel like taking pictures, but I have some of the first one. And you can see, like, if you want, let me find them. They're completely spread out. If you want to be. A lot of people aren't, like, but they're all wearing masks. They just, like, chose not to. Yeah. But the only people that were trying to be violent were the, like, All Lives Matter people that, like, they brought megaphones and were, like, yelling at us.
Trying to like
this one
incite
guy-
the crowd.
Yeah, like this one guy today leaves out of his car and goes, "You're all a bunch of fucking idiots." And we're all like,
Oh.
"Bruh."
Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
That's a very good
Like,
call.
okay. Tell him, like, we were all teenagers at the first one. Like, everybody except for, like, maybe, like, 10 adults that were mostly parents were, like, teenagers, and he yelled at a bunch of teenagers.
Yikes.
Yikes.
Like, this whole movement is trying to, like, be positive, and you just have, jerks who
Yeah.
bring all this negativity, like,
Yeah.
not even what it's about.
I mean, like, the most powerful thing that we can do is, like, ignore them, right? Because right now, their goal is to make you, like, feel not confident and feel like what you're doing might not be the best thing.
Yeah.
And
Or
so,
wrong.
like,
Or wrong.
yeah, so, yeah, so, like, these people, don't let them have a voice because, like, sure, you hear them, and then you still stay true to your ground and ignore them, and that's, like, the best thing that we can do.
Yeah, it was really great whenever somebody did something like that. Like, the biggest chance would start. Just like, this one dude was, like, singing, I can't remember what it was, but, like, something about, like, peace and love or whatever. It was a good time.
That's great.
Like,
So
all
powerful.
the
That's so
protesters,
cool.
like, want to stay peaceful, at least from the ones I've been
I
to.
mean, there's always gonna be haters. So.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I remember like watching some people talk about it and speak their mind. They're all saying, a protest is a protest. There is no right way to protest. It's a protest.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
it's a protest. Like, I think when Martin Luther King was marching down for his protest, like, people were saying, dude, that's not the right way to protest. It's a fucking protest, man. Like, come on. So, I mean, there's haters gonna hate, dude. Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, and I mean, if somebody disagrees with a Black Lives Matter movement, their opinion isn't that valid. Like,
Yeah.
Crazy
That's just-
right now, yeah.
yeah,
Honestly, you're
that's
just wrong. You're just wrong at that point.
Yeah, you're just plain wrong. Like,
All the evidence is there, man. We have
Yeah.
all the evidence to prove it. Like,
Yeah, it's more of just like how their mind is constructed and like the society that maybe they grew up in. Because this is all like moral issue, right? Like,
Yeah.
if someone lives in a completely different like alien world where they're specifically taught at school and in their entire lives that this is how things work, right?
Mhm.
Basically, their mind isn't gonna change because
they think
that's like the world they've grew up in. That's like that's how their brain is constructed. Like, if you want to go that deep.
Yeah,
but they have the capacity to like change all.
yeah, yeah. No, for sure. I've like
Yeah.
talked to people that have changed their minds. I feel like just for my specific area, I live in a very white area, and it's pretty like right too. It's like it leans right. So there's a lot of people with like certain opinions that they've held their entire time while living here because there's not much diversity. But like once they leave to college, they've come back with they're completely different. Just that's a very personal one, but
So I feel like that's the whole idea of being in a different community, and like, so essentially it really matters where you are and who you're around, because like if you're in a society where everyone believes the same thing, then your thoughts will be that same thing. So like, I guess the best way to change someone's mind is put them in a world that's completely different, and then they'll adapt to it.
That's true.
Put them in a world where like people believe racism is bad, and then they'll adapt to it.
I think the problem with then like changing the America is, like you said, we have to put people in a place where the whole world is thinks not.
The
I don't
same
know how
way.
to word it better. Thinks the right way, but like thinks. I don't know how to say it.
Unified.
In a way where like the least people are being harmed, essentially.
Just like, just they're not racist. Just think not
Yeah,
racist.
exactly.
Like,
They're not
Yeah.
racist, basically, right? But then like our whole country has kind of already been built on like to be like it's systematically racist, so it's already inherent in our country already.
Yeah. It's hard.
So it's like
It's hard. It's hard.
how do you change that? Is the
The
many
problem.
years of work,
Exactly.
many years of the right people in office.
Like it kind of goes back to that idea that I brought up where it just takes time and you just need to like educate the next generation. And the whole idea of like you can vote for the new president and you can sign these petitions and that's like short-term stuff, I guess. But like if you really want to change the entire system, then you know it's like constantly evolving. The older people are kind of dying off, I guess, and then new people are being born. I mean, like what I'm trying to say
Yeah, they're
is
gonna die
that over
anyway,
time,
man. Let's give them corona.
over time, people like
kidding.
over time the people are changing, and so that's like our opportunity to like change the way that everyone thinks as well.
Yeah,
By,
I
like-
feel like
Yeah.
I saw. It's interesting that you guys say like you know we gotta get everyone on the right side, which is I agree too because you know things aren't changing. But there is one thing. I forgot where I fucking heard this, man. It was like in the White House or something. You know, like you can have the president make his decisions, but they're not gonna pass if it's just him. Like I think they were saying like you know every member down has to believe in the same thing. Otherwise, you're not gonna get your things passed. You know, it's the same thing. It's like if they don't all believe the same way, then who's to say that they're gonna, you know, pass the right way? I don't know. That makes sense.
yeah, that makes perfect sense. I feel like change would start with like education, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like
I think
the
that's
education
important.
system really failed me on teaching about racism because it always taught in past tense and it glazed over everything. I feel like teaching the younger generation about it and making them like understand why it's bad would help. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes sense because like essentially like you learn your values when you're younger and it comes from like role models and teachers, and if they get exposure to that at a younger age and learn that it's not okay, and they'll be able to like carry it out in the future.
I think.
Yeah,
I think it's just.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Oh,
No. Yeah. Go ahead. I'll go after.
I think it's just always good to challenge your thoughts. Always question everything.
Yes.
Because if you just let it be, nothing is gonna change. You always have to be open-minded and open to questions. Just challenge everything. Like that's my advice. Like especially if you wanna break out of the societal norms that have been instilled for such a long period of time. It's always good to challenge and question everything. Like what? Like maybe like this is something I grew up with, but is there something wrong? Like just always like question like maybe there's something wrong with what I believe in, or maybe the other side was misinformed, or you know, it's just good to question.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Boys and girls.
It kind of conflicts with the other idea though, where we're talking about how elderly they like kind of expect themselves to be respected by the younger, so it's harder to like talk to them about this type of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Um,
of course, for sure. Yeah,
just
for
Yeah.
sure.
I just don't care.
It's
So, like-
really
talk to them.
Yeah, it's just really hard to persuade older people, and I think it's because they believe that they've been around longer, so they know better.
Yeah,
But
they're
that's
like,
not
"Hey,
always
kid,
the case.
Don't talk back to me, idiot. Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they might just like
Exactly.
sway it off as just like, oh yeah, you're just being immature and I'm wise, so I won't listen to you, or something like that.
There's
That's
a lot
Yeah.
of, they just blow it off and like, hey man, they're just stuck in their ways, dude. I don't know what to say. That's what it
It
is.
pisses me off so much. I just like I'll have like a really like logical argument and I'll like present it, and they're like, "You're just like just stupid liberal, like young kid. Oh, you'll get it when you're older." I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. Some people are just really stubborn, and it's so hard to persuade older people whose mindset has been set in stone for so many years.
But then what's the best thing to do? Like,
I think
I just leave them alone, dude. Honestly, I just like stop arguing with them sometimes.
Yeah, same. Me too. And besides, they're old anyway.
Yeah, I'm just like,
They're
okay,
gonna,
look, man, I'm just gonna live my life, whatever.
Yeah, if they
Oh.
blow me off, like I will. But like I've had conversations with old people that are like great, but like my grandma who's super old and open-minded. But other than that,
Here's what's worked for me personally. Like when I'm trying to persuade like my mom, for example.
oh my,
I know for a fact she listens to like my cousin wholeheartly and open-mindedly.
oh.
So I always tell my God, I'm like, hey man, can you talk to my mom? You know, that's what I usually
I
do.
mean, that's kind of sad, but like,
Yeah,
I mean, if you find a way,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just get like, even like I've like who was saying like with Megan when she gives like a total rational, logical explanation. I give him the facts, I give him the science, I give him everything. And like, nah, man. I'm just like, fuck. Oh well, it's all good.
but yeah, like at some point, it's just best to just like let it go.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
let it go.
I agree.
Yeah.
Especially if you really can't change their mind, you just let it go.
And just like do the most that you can do yourself, you know? Like you don't want it to affect you directly. You kind of like don't let it get into you. You just like move on with yourself and like still be like the activist that you are.
Yeah, honestly,
essentially.
yeah, the most like what's worked for me too is just if you just honestly they can't stop you, man. If you do it, you're doing it. So I think that's just the way to go too sometimes.
Yeah.
Do what
Yeah.
you
Not
believe.
not
And then
even just
also,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Not even
No,
just
go
with
ahead,
old
sorry.
people. Like I don't know about y'all, but I've been having a lot of arguments with kids in my grade, and just like I've just like learned to not let it bother me. Just like
Yeah, just ignore them.
they'll
dude.
just
Ignore 'em
no,
and do
like
what you want.
no, I'll like present like a logical argument, and they'll just say something incredibly stupid, and I'll just like block them. Like I'm over it.
Yeah,
Like
just leave it be.
yeah,
I guess that is kind of a different situation because like kids your age, they don't have that same idea where it's like I'm elderly, so you're like you should respect me. It's more like it makes the argument a lot more viable, right?
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
Maybe they're just
No.
we
ignorant.
can't always carry an influence on them. Yeah, like if they're ignorant, that just means they're immature,
Yeah.
and there's nothing you could do in that case either. But like for the people that you can influence, like then you should take your chance, right? Because like isn't that what activism and stuff is all about? Like the spreading awareness idea. Like if you can actually convince them with an argument, then it's worth that shot. But if they're just ignorant and immature, like then again you just have to move on.
yeah, for sure. Like I've had like full length arguments that just end with them saying like just of them trying to justify something and then them just saying something completely ridiculous, and I have to stop because it's like this one guy was trying to justify police brutality with like crime rates, and I'm like, that's not no. And I had like a whole argument against everything he was saying, and he was using like biased statistics and all that. And then he just like ended, and I just like had to stop because he was just so ignorant. And I've had that issue a lot.
I mean, at least they have to argue. They have to put in the effort, and so maybe they start actually thinking about it later on in life.
Yeah,
So,
hopefully.
I
The way
mean,
that
like,
guy was thinking,
yeah.
he's in for a world of trouble when he gets out of here.
But
He
at least,
can't-
like,
yeah.
at least you're giving him the ideas that you believe are right, like earlier in his life. Because
Yeah.
let's say no one ever actually argued with him, and
I don't think he's
he
always
just
right,
like
dude.
believed in those things until he's like, let's say he goes up to like 30 years old. He's like stuck in his beliefs 100%. No one's ever argued with him, and then he's dropped into a world where like everyone believes something different, and that would be like really weird for him, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just like the argument's worth it in the end.
yeah, he's probably just gonna get his ass beat at one point and figure it out. But
Yeah.
yeah.
At least you're giving him the opportunity to figure it out.
Yeah.
He'll learn one day, or maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe not. Some of the things we were saying were like, yikes.
It's all good. What matters is there better see some. I want to see some big changes, man.
Me too.
I hope good comes out of this, guys. I really do.
It already has.
Yeah.
There's been a few.
there's
They're not
been
very
ways.
major, but there's been a few like state reforms.
Yeah. I just don't think it'll stop until there's like a big, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
At least we're
people-
onto something though.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are done.
Mhm. Alright. I might need to head out now.
Yeah.
So.
I'm getting hungry. We've been on
I didn't
this
eat
for
lunch.
more than an hour.
Just like end it off by like
Let's end it.
saying, let's say, well, before we end it, maybe we should just like talk about some ways people can like help the movement. Like if you guys know any like specific things to do or like specific places to go or anything like that.
You can find like links to like
Yeah.
compiled anywhere. Like just look up hashtag Black Lives Matter and just scroll through and you'll find
Yeah.
something.
That's where I found most of the petitions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on like media.
Mass
type in-
emails.
Yeah.
Yeah, email to your local representative saying you want them to do change, like do change, want them to like vote for something more, you know, all that.
Yeah. And also one of the most powerful things to do right now is to like do research and have like think for yourself. Like just really go out of your way to like do research and know more about the topic and like what's going on. Maybe do some like research on the history of like Black Lives Matter and stuff. And like one of the most powerful things to do is be aware about it so that you can make like good decisions and like really contribute to like the better.
And listen to people who've had experiences with this type of stuff. That's incredibly important.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope this discussion brought a lot of awareness. I feel more
For the
educated.
people.
Yeah, it was good.
I
Sorry I
enjoyed
was late.
It's okay. You were fighting for a good cause.
No worries. Yeah.
I'm
If you
eating,
guys can protest safely and not catch corona, go for it.
Be our guest.
You know.
But also like if you have elderly at home.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Think about your
Don't-
family
don't,
and your
yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not doing it. I'm not
Yeah.
not trying to get them killed.
Like it's totally okay to just do like what you can but still be safe.
Yeah, do what you can.
Do what you can.
Yeah, at the very least, educate yourself. At the very least.
What it comes down to. A lot of the hate just comes from, you know, ignorance, not knowing it, not being educated either. So, you know, misblame, misdirection, like we were
That's
talking
very
about
true.
earlier. So, please, guys, don't call people out. Let's let's assume that we're all friends.
Progress, don't regress.
Yeah, and if we're not friends, then we become friends. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice one.
All right, guys, thanks for joining in.
Peace out. Have a nice night.
Peace out.
Goodbye,
boys and
world.
Girls. Goodbye, world.
Bye world.
That's not a good thing to say.
Oh! I forgot. Before we go, Gabby, we have stickers. We have
Oh
stickers.
gosh.
If you buy stickers from our Redbubble store, we will donate
Yeah, we
them.
donate.
Please.
Yes.
So,
Oh shoot.
So
That's a great idea.
Wait, I should do a plug. You know what? I'll just link it in the description below. I finally got to say that. Okay. Yeah, this was good,
Okay.
guys. Nice discussion.
See y'all.
Good talk, boys.
Bye bye world.
Bye bye.
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 Bye.